Hey there, folks, what's the price? Time for some R/relationship advice. Let's dive in. My mother hates my sister with Down syndrome and blames her for our dad leaving us. She won't let me take custody of her, and I don't know how to continue living like this. Posted by Throwaway Mary and me. To preface this, we live in Austin, Texas. My mom was 39 when she got pregnant with my sister. A few days after her diagnostic screening confirmed that the baby had Down syndrome, our dad moved out and filed for divorce. Without my dad's income, my mom had to sell our house and we moved to a different neighborhood. It was nice, but it wasn't an upper middle class neighborhood like the one we used to live in. During her pregnancy, she was committed to being the best mom to my sister, let's call her Mary, and me. A few weeks after giving birth to Mary, who had no health issues other than Down syndrome, my parents' divorce was finalized. My mom got full custody and my dad got visitation rights twice a week. However, I refused to see him and he didn't want anything to do with Mary. To this day, we don't have a relationship at all. Neither of my parents was very hands-on. I had a lot of nannies growing up. But I never thought both of them would end up being so messed up. The finalization of the divorce hit my mom hard and she spiraled into postpartum depression. I was a high school freshman when all of this happened. On top of having to move to a different place where I didn't know anyone, I had to step up and help take care of my sister because my mom couldn't do it alone. While I was at school, my mom would do the most basic things like giving Mary the bottle and changing her diaper. Then she would wait for me to come home and help with the chores, and Mary. To help meant cleaning up the house a bit, taking care of Mary for the rest of the day, nap time, playtime, sensory time, physical therapy at home following the activities spreadsheet her physical therapist gave us, changing her diapers, feeding her for the rest of the day and night, bathing her, and putting her down to sleep, ordering dinner because neither of us was a great cook, and also finding time to study and do schoolwork. Even though my mom had 10 weeks of paid maternity leave, she decided to go back to work when Mary was 8 weeks old. She did find the best daycare for her, and I was honestly relieved knowing that Mary would be properly cared for while I was at school. My mom started to get better once she was back at work, but she still didn't care much about Mary, so I called her sister, my aunt, and told her everything. She offered to find my mom a good therapist and pay for it, and my mom agreed and started therapy. Something important to mention about my aunt is that she married into a wealthy family and lives in Georgia. She has 3 daughters and a son, aged 16, 20, 23, and 25, and is very conservative. While she's never openly talked about Mary having Down syndrome, it's visible that she's bothered by it. She's especially bothered by the fact that my mom lost a good marriage and a good home because of Mary. She never calls for Mary's birthday, but she does wire me $200 to get her a present every single year. It's basically pity money to acknowledge that Mary exists, and that's it. I'm waiting for the day I'm financially stable enough to give her back all the birthday money she sent us over the years. During high school summer breaks, my mom would be angry with me because I refused to work and make money for my own expenses. My father did pay around $2,000 in child support for Mary and me, but that money would go towards our health insurance. Whatever remained would be for me to buy anything Mary and I needed that wasn't food, medicine, or gas. I didn't want to work because summers were the only time of the year I could actually have some time for myself. Every summer, Mary would only be in daycare a few times a week for a few hours while I would do housework and run errands, and we would spend the rest of our time together. She certainly had some developmental delays, but by the time she was 3.5, Mary was already walking, talking, sleeping in her big girl bed, and she was potty trained. All of that was because I worked with her and did whatever I could to make sure she was as independent as possible. Right around that time, my mom stopped seeing her therapist and had already been off antidepressants for a while. She was no longer struggling with depression. She just regretted having Mary. Making peace with that was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I always hoped that she would get better and come around, but no medicine could help the way she disregarded Mary. I graduated high school, and even though I had known for years that college wouldn't be a part of my reality, it was a really painful time for me because it was something I wanted. Still, after a 1-month trial period at my friend's mom's event planning agency, I landed a full-time, well-paying job. My mom and I were a bit financially stressed because my portion of the child support ended when I turned 18, so this job really saved us. I was so excited to finally start saving money and to give Mary her own room since we were sharing one. But since I got a new job, my mom decided to cut her hours and only work part-time because she was tired of being the sole breadwinner, and she deserved to slow down and semi-retire. I was really pissed off because I had to pay for roughly 70% of all monthly expenses for the household, while she would pitch in here and there and spend the rest of her money however she liked. She no longer felt obligated to financially contribute. I ended up getting a second job a few months later. It wasn't a full-time job because I worked from home and got to choose my projects. I basically booked social media influencers with companies and helped them figure out if they were a good match for ads and campaigns. It was really easy, and I was able to make an additional $800 to $1,500 a month. After about a year, I had saved enough to buy a really good used car. My mom did get me a used car for my 16th birthday, but she didn't want to pay for all the repairs it needed, so I spent over 3 years driving Mary and myself in an unsafe car. I was proud of myself, so you can imagine the absolute shock that ensued when my friend called me to ask me why I was selling the car I had just got. My mom posted photos of my car on her Facebook and put it up for sale because, according to her, I didn't need a fancy car. She said we could split the money and I could get a more cost-effective car since I had to be more responsible with my finances. The argument that followed was our biggest one yet, and we ended up establishing some strict rules when it comes to our relationship. From that moment on, our mom became like a roommate to Mary and me. I even stopped calling her Mom and started using her name. I did find comfort in knowing that Mary wasn't alone in this. Our mother was treating me the same, and it was not us. It was never us. She's just someone who never should have been a parent. I remodeled an upstairs office in our home and turned it into Mary's safari-themed bedroom. I got us annual Disney passes. We travel and go on little road trips together. I've learned to cook pretty well, and Mary loves helping me. I have 3 friends I consider family who love Mary and me unconditionally. It's a good life. A great life, in fact. So I hate the fact that I'm subconsciously victimizing myself because of everything. I've kissed once, been on 2 dates with 2 different guys, never had sex, never partied, and I take Mary to my hair and nail appointments. I take care of all her medical appointments and therapy, and I know every nursery rhyme and toy unboxing video that has ever existed on YouTube. God, I feel guilty even typing this out, but I get overwhelmed with sadness and bitterness when I think of the life I wanted and never got to have. I'm like a 50-year-old trapped in a 21-year-old girl's body. And it hurts even more when I hear how my mother compares me to my 20-year-old cousin who moved to Austin for college. The 2 of them go shopping together, have brunch together, and she knows all about her fun college life and the boys she's dating. She makes sure to always emphasize how lucky my aunt is to have such great, accomplished kids. Another thing she likes to do is mention how my other cousin has won several beauty pageants. She only does this because my friends once asked me if I'd like to apply for our school's pageant, and she tried to embarrass me in front of them by saying that I couldn't win anything with my daddy's face. I throw myself a mini pity party whenever she kicks me where it hurts, and then I look at Mary, at this sweet little soon-to-be 7-year-old girl who just finished first grade with a ton of smiley and star stickers from her teacher, and I feel so ashamed of myself. Quarantine was difficult for us because we suddenly had to be home with our mother all the time. I had to coordinate my work and Mary's homeschooling, and I really tried to minimize all outings because Mary has asthma, which makes her high risk. My mother, however, would go to the store twice a day just to get out, or she would go to the park. Even when things started to open up, she was the first one to go and eat out and visit friends like it's no big deal. Because of that, another huge argument ensued, and I told her that we should go our separate ways if she'll let me take custody of Mary. I was serious, and she knew it. She told me that Mary had already caused her embarrassment because she had to divorce, and she's not letting it happen a second time by making herself seem unfit to parent. And she's right. I don't have much to go on even if I wanted to take her to court to claim that she's unfit, at least not with my current budget. It would completely drain my finances, and I would probably lose the case and lose Mary for good. She's not abusive or hostile towards Mary, she's just indifferent towards her. It's not even neglect because she does pay for a few things and will babysit if I have to run somewhere, but she's literally like a stranger or roommate to us, not a mom. That really crushed me, and I was sitting in the kitchen thinking about everything when Mary came to ask me for a snack. I didn't hear what she said, so she spoke again, and I yelled at her. I snapped at her for the first time ever, and she looked at me the same way she looks at our mother. I'm so terrified that I'll allow myself to become like her because she's just pushing my buttons whenever she can. At this point, all I can do is save money like crazy, gather copies of all my finances and bills as proof that I take care of Mary, and wait for a few years until I can pay for a good lawyer and court expenses. I can't spend decades with this woman and wait until she dies to get custody over Mary. I can't. I don't know what else to do to keep my sanity and, most importantly, to stop these feelings of self-pity and victimization because all they do is make me feel guilty, and Mary doesn't deserve that. I need a fresh pair of eyes to read this and give me some advice. Edit. I've been contacted by a legal advisor whose company does pro bono work, so I'm going from there. I also didn't want to make it sound like I have no money. I do. I have a great salary and enough to afford things like Disney trips and eating out a few times a week. But I pay for almost all household expenses, insurance, and everything that Mary needs, which is why I don't have much in savings. I'm actually going to transfer half of the bills to my name and only pay my half. I know my mom well enough to know that she'll get a little mad and then use this to milk more money out of my aunt. Edit 2. Oh, and I promise I will have my friends babysit Mary, and I will go out more and do things for myself. Maybe I'll even start dating. I'll suck at it, but hey, we all start somewhere. It's really easy for me to feel incapable when I need help, but you guys made it clear that help should be welcomed. I don't think I've ever felt this much support coming my way. I've also been researching therapists for a while now. I'm not sure if I'll go to therapy right now because I want to tighten our budget, but it's one of my priorities. And yes, my mom and aunt really are a pair of Karens, don't I know it? Wow. Let me get this straight. Mom of the year over here is going halfsies on a used car she didn't buy, but can't chip in for, her child's life necessities? That's some next level Hallmark movie villainy. Seriously, someone give this woman an Oscar. And can we talk about the whole embarrassed by her own daughter thing? Excuse me, but I thought only teenagers were allowed to be embarrassed by their parents, not the other way around. But hey, at least she's good for some free babysitting. Am I right? Oh, what a journey. I don't know whether to cry or start a GoFundMe for a one-way ticket to anywhere but there for our storyteller and her sis. And let's not overlook the protagonist of our story here, the absolute sister superhero, juggling jobs like a circus performer and still managing to be Mom 2.0. Disney passes, safari-themed bedroom. Move over. Pinterest moms, we've got a new champion in town. She's not just winning at the cool sis title, she's like the whole Avengers team combined, but for childcare, and yet still has to sneak in those moments of self-doubt. Girl, let's get this straight. Heck, invite me. I'll bring the confetti and sad balloons. Seriously though, definitely prioritize some therapy, keep a positive mindset, and you'll be out of this mess. Good luck, OP. Hey, wait! As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. And of course, make sure you stay safe out there in that crazy world. Much love, peace.